evening and welcome back to the Mental Health Ranger, and what a beautiful evening it is as well. I hope you can enjoy the sounds of the sea that I have beside me. This is what I call one of my pleasure activities. Now this video really is for people out there who may be struggling with really quite difficult low mood, and sometimes I find that people who are experiencing low mood are the hardest to reach, because it is at those times when you are hardest to reach, and I'm speaking from personal experience there too. Often when we're experiencing quite high expressed emotions such as anxiety or something that people can see, there is a drive there that actually necessitates going to get help. But sometimes when people are feeling very, very low in mood, the motivation isn't there to do anything at all, and that includes seeking help. So sometimes it can be helpful at those times to think about what's actually lacking and what does actually bring us pleasure. And just something simple like this, such as sitting here in this stunning scenery, can be really quite helpful. I often refer to something called an emotional bank account with people when I'm working with them, and we talk about how when somebody's mood is extremely low or they're feeling what you would call depressed, that's when the emotional bank account is actually overdrawn. And sometimes it's those little deposits that you still actually don't see much of a difference for, because you've gone so way overdrawn emotionally. It's going to take some time before you're back in credit and feeling really quite healthy again in terms of the state of your emotional bank account. So it can be helpful to think about, what is it that actually deposits into your emotional bank account? What is it that gives you credit in that way, in terms of, is it just having a coffee with someone who cares about you, or is it sat somewhere like this in really quite nice scenery, or is it being peaceful and having time to yourself? Is it doing something simple like having a bath or having a massage, actually activating your sensory soothers as we've discussed before? What is it? Because we all have them usually, and it's been an absence of them that's created the despair or the depression or low mood. So that can be another reason why that people are actually experiencing that. The family walking past at the moment, we can't help that. So yeah, it's an interesting way of thinking about things, just a little bit differently, insofar as that we can and do actually have some control over how we feel, and as desperate as you might feel at the moment in terms of low mood. And I would always encourage people to seek help if you can, but there are things that we can do that just put those little deposits into our emotional bank account. And like I say, that might just be having a hug with somebody that you love, watching a program that you love, being in a place that you enjoy being, but equally not doing and avoiding the things that are actually massive things that take away from your emotional bank account, big, withdrawals, so to speak. So being quite conscious and aware of those too. So for example, forcing yourself to do chores, that's a withdrawal, even though there can be a slight payback or payoff when you feel good for doing it. If it's actually more of a chore and it's not bringing you any pleasure, then don't do it. Let it wait for another day, because these things always do wait. So hopefully you found that interesting. Like I say, I think there are different ways of looking at how we experience low mood, and it can be helpful to come from a more compassionate and nurturing perspective, rather than feeling guilt-ridden and feeling forced to get better quickly. I think, like I say, a more caring and compassionate approach to that is much more helpful. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you do like it, please hit the like button, and we'll see you again for the next Mental Health Ranger. Thank you.